Trijicon ACOG has been around since 1987, and over 500,000 of these have been made. In fact, the U.S. Marine Corps puts these on every rifle. Just an excellent combat-ready scope, built like a tank. Anybody that does a lot of shooting, especially if you have ARs, you know about the Trijicon ACOG. It's just a fantastic, very rugged battle scope. But it's also a very precision scope as far as the glass is really excellent. And the reticle system, there's a number of different systems that you can look at that are available. What we're going to do today is look at the Trijicon ACOG, and this is the TA31, but what's really particular, and one of the reasons why this is my favorite ACOG, is because it has the ACSS Reticle. The ACSS Reticle actually was stemmed or was inspired by the Russian POS reticle for the Dragunovs or the SVDs. But first we want to get into what the ACOG is all about. One of the things that I would recommend is the video that I've done, the Trijicon ACOG, What's the Big Deal? And I talk a lot about the details of the ACOG, especially about the BAC, or the bind and aiming concept, which is shooting with both eyes open. Now, that's been around for a long time, but Binden, who was the developer of Trijicon, the founder, came up with this system with a magnified optic. And you can see the information there on that video. It's a very popular video, and because the Trijicon ACOG is a very popular optic. Now, I have one of the LaRue quick detach mounting systems on here, and that is not included. You do get one of the standard TA51 mounts, and these have been around for a long time. These are great little mounts, very solid, but I like to be able to take my optics on and off. Now, you will notice this hole or a channel that goes all the way through the base of the optic itself, not necessarily the mount. And this allows you to take and put this on your carry handle directly. You can mount this directly to your carry handle, and you can use it for that and be able to see your sights through this hole. It is a dual illumination scope, and it does have a tritium lighted reticle inside. That is, again, no power. It is tritium. It will last. In fact, I had one of the standard ACOGs for 14 years before I needed to send it back to ACOG to have the tritium replenished. And I have a video on that as well about the process. But this one also has the fiber optic rod here, and I highly recommend that because it really brightens up your daylight shooting and it makes it really nice. One of the things that I've always been a big proponent of is having no batteries needed. A lot of the optics that are out there, in fact, Trijicon has been developing a number of optics with batteries to light the reticle or have an illuminated reticle. But really having a great backup with the fiber optic and the tritium, to me, makes this a great scope to handle any kind of conditions. You don't have to worry about the scope getting knocked. Also, you'll notice back here these little ears. This is made for a mount that will adapt to one of the RMRs or doctor sights, and that's great for a backup. There are some ACOGs that actually come with backup sights on the top of the scope, but this one does not. This is a one piece from here aluminum body. It's very strong, it's sealed, and then of course the eyepiece or the ocular lens fits right here. These are recommended. You never should take these apart. With the tritium insert inside, it will void the warranty as well, and it's just not really smart to do that. One of the things too that the ACOG has improved on is their adjustment dials, and of course they have a small tether here, you can see, but one of the great things is before you needed a screwdriver, now you can do this by hand. You can turn it however. Now, it does have half MOA adjustments, so for every click it's about a 1/2 inch adjustment at 100 yards. They are sealed, and you should never take these and extend them all the way out. And you really shouldn't need to. These have been preset at the factory, and so really once you get them on your scope, it shouldn't be too difficult to get these in line. Now, these are waterproof, they're fog-proof, they're shock-proof. They are nitrogen purged, and that's another reason why you don't want to disassemble this scope. But it's really made specifically for combat. The glass is just fantastic. And really, I've known that from experience. I've used inferior scopes before, especially at long ranges. Glass, the clarity of the glass is so important to be able to pick up detail. If you have cheaper glass, it's going to be distorted. You're going to have a harder time picking out detail. And with really sharp glass, it allows you to be able to get that detail that you need to. So, you know, there's a lot of reasons why this scope is a very expensive optic, but compared to a lot of the really higher quality scopes, it's really about a mid-range price. And I know a lot of you guys, you know, are going to say you're crazy because this scope can run, in fact, this particular ACSS Reticle TA31 on the Primary Arms website is $1,189. So it's not an inexpensive scope. But one of the rules of thumb with your rifle that's been traditional is that your optic should cost as much as the price of your rifle. It is a 4-power and it does have a 32mm objective lens. One of the complaints about the ACOG is the short eye relief. It has a 1.5-inch eye relief, so you've really got to get your nose up to the charging handle, which that's the way I like to shoot. And I've been shooting Trijicon ACOG since about right before 2000. So I've had one of these for about 15 years and I have abused and used that scope tremendously. This is, though, my third ACOG, and guys, I'm telling you, this is my favorite optic. I mean, there are other scopes that I have for other purposes, but as a go-to scope, this is the optic that I would go to. It weighs 9.9 ounces and the length is 5.8 inches. With or without the ACSS Reticle, these scopes really are for close quarter up to about 800 yards. One of the things about this one, though, in particular, and really the basis for what I want to get into, is the ACSS Reticle. Dimitri, who actually designs the reticle systems, had this sent to me because he knew that I was a huge fan of the ACSS and wanted to run it through and really check it out. This is the ACSS Reticle here in a diagram. Of course, you can see the horseshoe here, a 1 MOA dot, so it allows you to really get good accuracy. Then you range out at the bottom here of the lip of the horseshoe is 200 yards, 3, 4, and it goes all the way down to 800 yards. The number one reason that snipers during competition miss their shots is because of wrong range estimation, which is really important, and this is built into the system. The number two reason is because of wrong windage estimation, and this is also built into this. There is no math that needs to be done with this system, which makes it really fast and able to really get your shots where you want them. Now, of course, at 100 yards, you can place the center dot right in the right spot for center of mass. For 200 yards, if it's from here to here, that is 18 inches represented at 200 yards. 300 yards is this tip to this tip, which actually correlates with the 300-yard mark. And so you can go ahead and estimate your range, and then 4, 5, and of course all the way down to 800. This is your center of mass at 800 yards and really pretty much across the chest. Now over here to the side is also your range estimation diagram, and you can put a man-sized target where he stands in this area right here. If the man is feet here, top of head right here, he's at 300 yards. Now actually this scope itself, the Trijicon ACOG, starts at 400 yards on this diagram. And then of course right here, if the man's foot's here and the top of his head is here, he's at 400, and then all the way down. So this allows you to see your range estimation really quickly and to be able to calculate that into your shot. Wind is also built in, 5-mile-an-hour wind at 200 yards. You hold right here. Of course you see 400, 5, and then it moves on down, and of course that goes out. The further distance you go, the more the wind affects the bullet. And so at a 5-mile-an-hour wind at 800 yards, you're going to hold right here. Now one thing that they've included, which I really like, are these leads, and on each side this has been calculated for a man with a weapon. He can sprint at 8.6 miles an hour, and so if he is standing right here, then you shoot here. And what happens is by the time he gets here, that's where the bullet impact, and then of course coming the other direction. For a walking man, it's just the edge right here of the target. So once you fire right here, he's standing here, you fire right here, then he'll walk right into it. And that's a really cool feature because a lot of times the object is running. And of course, again, this is set up for military, law enforcement, and for home defense, self-defense. Now, if you have more questions about the ACSS Reticle system, I highly recommend you go to the Primary Arms website, where Dimitri actually explains this, and being the developer of this reticle system, he really knows how to explain it. Here's the reticle system through the aperture. You can see the chevrons, but you can also Right there to the right is the range finding Stratia lines. And of course it does have the built-in bullet drop compensation. But this little system is fantastic. And then with Trijicon glass, the quality of this glass is just phenomenal. Now here, even in the twilight, because it's around 5 o'clock, it's starting to get a little bit dark here, the fiber optic is still picking up the reticle system, so it makes it really nice to be able to see. Here you can see just the tritium showing up with the reticle, and you'll notice that it is just the horseshoe itself that shows up. But this is really excellent when you put this together with night shooting. It's not necessarily a night vision scope, but it will give you a great reference point, even in total darkness. Now here are a few accuracy groups. Here I was using the BCM BFH, which is a hammer forged barrel. Very nice system. In fact, a review's coming up on it as well. But some of the accuracy here, as you can see, was just superb. And you know, the reticle system, the glass is great and clear, and it's really easy to get on target. And of course, with the other advantages of the ACSS reticle, you can really get your shots where they count. And I was using the HPR 60 grain VMAX, and that ammunition is just hyper clean, very accurate stuff. And I want to thank HPR for sponsoring the ammunition because we really put a lot of rounds downrange. It is made for the 5.56. Also for the 5.45 AK-74 caliber, and then also 308. So this can be adjusted to all those different calibers. And guys, I've shot about 500 rounds with this optic on my rifle, and it has been nothing but exceptional. And to be honest with you, that's what I expected. I've always been a huge fan of the Trijicon ACOG. Put that together with the ACSS reticle, which is fantastic, and you just got a winning combination. I've owned the ACOG for over 15 years, and this is just a top-notch sight. But with that reticle system, it gives you a lot of capabilities. Now, if you're really looking for an ACOG and you're trying to decide, maybe you're saving your money, maybe you're looking right now and trying to pick out which reticle system you want. To me, the ACSS reticle is far and above anything else that Trijicon offers. I mean, with the capabilities of the ranging and with the windage and the bullet drop, all combined with the horseshoe shape, it's just an exceptional reticle system. And then top that off and combine it with the traditional ACOG body and the TA31, it's just a win-win. So the Trijicon ACOG with the ACSS reticle, thumbs way up. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. And it's a really great system.
Safety rules. 1. All guns are always loaded. Even if they are not, treat them as if they are.
Attach this to a charging handle without the mount, without a mount, directly to your charging.
That's cool.
Let's not tear it up.